Okay, let's get started. Oop. Hello! It is I, Tamashii, and all I gotta say is TamaTalks. I'm a grumpy Latina VTuber who lives in Japan, and I try to stream 5 times a week. On one of those days, I dedicate one stream to political commentary where I focus on human rights. Please read the pin. I know that other days I'm goofy, cringe, and crazy, but on this specific day, I will be focusing on human rights, and it's mostly a serious stream. I'm really easy to time out and ban people, so don't try me, okay? I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I'm sick. I don't know how. Again. But it seems like once a month I get fucking sick. So right now I'm trying to push through a little bit without snot coming out of my nose. So if I sound weird, that's why. Let me read the chat for a bit. I'm using a new chat system, so I'm kind of wonky on this for now. The ad break is finishing now. Thank you, Saribot. Hey Tama, finally get to be here for TamaTalks. Hi! Diamond City Lights. Hello, how are you? Thank you for coming by. Yay. By the way, before we get anything done, I want to do something real quick. Okay, go. Go ahead. Hi, oh hi, Koji. Hold up, quick question. Okay. Let me have it. Oh, I have to turn off that bot since we don't do race trace anymore. But yeah, I'm on a limited time frame, so I want to keep this within 2 to 3 hours. So hurry guys, come on. Before we get to that, I just want to say, how do you guys like my new room? Isn't that colorful? I don't know if it's better than the old one. The old room was the Grace Trace podcast room. But I wanted something that is me, you know? So here I am with my own room and my own style. It's kind of cute, I think. I really like it. You can talk about American politics when you live in Japan? I think anyone on earth can talk about any politics. I'm also American, so Lamau, of course I can. Looks great, thank you. The same way Americans talk on foreign politics. That's true! China! It's China! China's ruining everything. Do not look at the Epstein files. If you do, it's all made up by China. Like, be for real, bro. Come on, use your brain a bit. Okay, I did the 2 things. Okay, Allie. I also wanna reiterate something. I talk about things that matter to me. And so if you get offended or feel uncomfortable or anything, you don't have to watch. You don't have to support me. You have free will. But I do demand respect. And if I don't get that, you can either leave or I'll kick you out, okay? Here's the thing, though. We shouldn't. We need to focus on ourselves. Well, that's why the world's gone to shit. Because everyone doesn't care about people. That's the whole reason why I do TamaTalks. It's not popular. I'm not doing it because it's popular. Of course not. People don't care about others. And I want to change that. I'm very open mind right wing. Oh, well, I'm a very open mind left wing. So, yeah. I'm gonna sneeze. Sorry. Shit. God damn. Fuck, it didn't come out. Okay, well, I'm gonna start TamaTalks. Okay. I'm a bird. Okay, cool. Now let's get our serious caps on. There used to be so many people that went to school to study foreign affairs to working careers related to it. I mean, people still do that to this day. I actually ended up studying a lot on East Asia history. When I was in college, which is basically why I live in Japan now. But enough about me, enough about everything else. Before we get to talking about Venezuela, I want to continue the same style of TamaTalks where I focus on Palestine. And so everyone here who has watched TamaTalks already knows like where I stand on it, where you guys stand on it. So I just kind of want to do the New Year's reflection and kind of show you guys the humanity of people in Palestine, how they celebrated the New Year's, and I kind of want to start off things with that sort of hope in mind. So let me turn off the anime happy style music. Boop. And let me get my sources out. Haba! There we go. And so let me remove my logo where it is. Haba! Yosh. So as you know, I don't know how long we've been doing TamaTalks. Yikes. I think it's been over. Help me out, chat. Yeah, it's been over a year, chat, since I started TamaTalks. And throughout TamaTalks, I've evolved in the way I talk and my talking points. And one of the very unfortunate things about TamaTalks is that I usually end up reporting or sharing to you guys about the people who were killed and wrongfully assassinated by the state of Israel. And for this new year, I want to humanize and remember the people that we lost in Palestine of this year. This is Anas and Saleh. I actually talked about both of these guys, and both of them ended up being killed. And so I just want you guys to, pay respects to them and remember them. And so there's many more Palestinian journalists that were lost this year. And so I'd like to look at a compilation. And also, what is that noise? Oh god, oh, it's here. Gomen. I got so scared. I was like, who's behind me? I didn't know it was automatically playing. But let me read what this has to say. Gaza 24 Live. It says, "We bid farewell to a heavy, painful year, one that broke our hearts beyond endurance and took from us the best among us. We lost our brave journalists who carried the truth on their shoulders and paid for it with their lives. Each had a story unfinished, a simple dream of life, a safe home, a morning without bombs. They wrote with their bodies what the world refused to read, giving their lives for an honest word. They are gone, but their voices endure, their names shining in a time that tried and failed to silence the truth. We step in a new year burdened by loss, yet more faithful to their message. Never to be silent, never to forget." And so I want you guys to remember, or if you haven't seen these people, I know that there's a lot of people I didn't end up getting to know or reporting on, but if you guys have been sticking with me throughout this past year, you will recognize some faces that are no longer here. This is just out of respect for the human lives lost. These people did their best to report on the truth of the pain of their people. A lot of these people were husbands, wives, fathers, mothers, brothers and sisters, grandfathers, grandmothers. And it's just really hard to get to know some of these people through their work, and then having their lives be cut super short. Ay! Okay. So I like to start, when I speak on Palestinians, I don't like it when people just speak on numbers. I don't like it when people, only show one side. I like to humanize these people because, to be honest, like, at least compared to 2 years ago, after October 7th, no one would even fathom trying to humanize these people at all. And it was pretty hard. It was pretty hard because everyone would just go with the racist stereotype. It's like, oh yeah, well, it's because they're all terrorists. Of course, the logic of, if you were in a bank heist, right? If someone went to go rob a bank and you were being held hostage, it is the police's God-given right to just bomb the whole building in order to take care of the criminals. That's the sort of logic that many Americans, like myself, have been accustomed to, brainwashed to, into thinking that is totally normal. But when I give you that analogy, it's not normal. It really isn't. Okay, a lot of these people turned into journalists without their consent. But because they needed people to see the truth of what was happening, of the pain that they were facing, they were brave enough to, instead of, their own way of fighting was by reporting. And so I want people to just remember that, to all the VOD viewers as well, to everyone listening in. I want you guys to remember those that were lost. Yes, we lost too many people for what they, though. I don't know what you said. But yeah, please remember those that were lost this year. But despite the losses, right? One thing that I love about the Palestinian people, and you really have to commend their faith in seeing hope. Here is what is, the Palestinian journalists that are still living and still reporting. They're still doing their best to see the positives in life and celebrating the new year in survival. So I want to check this video out as well. Let me see if you guys can see, though. Okay, yeah. Hello? Press play. Boop. Oh, and then, of course, I will read out the subtitles for those who cannot read right now. So give me a second. As I am muted? No way. Oh, we are back. I don't think I was muted, was I? Okay. But you haven't been muted. Thank you. Okay, I was confused. I was like, okay, watch. Yeah, but thank you, Kazumi. Diamond City Lights. Okay, so let's check this video out. I'll read it. I'll read out the translation for y'all. I'll do my best. Hapa. We're here again, but this time, cake and candles. This time in Arabic. Arabic? One thing I regret is, one time during the genocide, there was a child. I left him under the rubble after the Israeli army advanced. I returned to him. I found him dead. I regret that my fiancée traveled and I couldn't travel with her. The candle is not lighting. I regret that I didn't spend enough time with my martyred friends. I honestly don't regret anything, but I'm joining the challenge anyways. I didn't pick anything from under the rubble when we went back home for the first time. I regret placing my trust in the wrong people. I said in English and now in Arabic. What are you... Oh, okay, now this time, what are you most proud of in 2025? A miracle that I came out alive from this genocide. Yeah. I am most proud of being committed to the gym and English lessons. Oh. What I'm most proud of is that I got engaged during the genocide in a cement factory. I helped many children get medically evacuated. Proud that I held myself together despite all the pressure and what we went through, I kept it together. I'm proud of the impact of everything I wrote and photographed. I finished high school by mistake after 2 years. Till next year. And so we hope that this genocide ends. At least I do. I hope that the genocide ends. I also hope that they get you know, because things won't get better after the genocide ends. You know, there has to be repercussions. I hope that they are able to get the aid that they need, the assistance that they need. I hope that they will be able to escape the hands of Israel and be able to just, you know, live their lives in peace for fucking once, you know? So I just think it's very amazing that, you know, they still push through to fucking keep this hope after seeing like the most horrific things on earth, by the way. And since I keep up with this, I have also seen what they have seen. And I know that that's precisely why people don't really want to, you know, dive into what's happening around the world, because the images you will see are terrifying, scary, horrific, basically gore. And a lot of people feel the goal is to make you feel uncomfortable, of course, but uncomfortable enough to want to do something and help these people. Some people just don't care and prefer the peace and prefer to, you know, live in ignorance. And so in TamaTalks, my way of being the middleman in that, or middle woman, whatever you call it, is that, you know, I see what I see, and then I try to show you guys a more easy to digest version of that, and then encourage you guys to, you know, spread humanity and help these people by boycotting, by speaking against your governments, organizing, and, you know, just talking about what you learned to other people. Not only are journalists celebrating the new year and, you know, seeing hope for the next year, so are the Palestinian children, and this is something that is confirmed and that you can look up. But Palestine the population of Palestine consists of over 50% of children. So 50% of Palestine's population is under 18, which is even more horrific. And which is why you see so many children all the time in these videos. And exactly precisely why we must urge for this genocide to end, and for, you know, our countries to stop funding it with our taxpayer money. Because when you bomb Palestine, you're not bombing like Hamas, however they say it. Hamas. You're not bombing Hamas. You're literally bombing kids. Okay? 50% chance that you're bombing kids, another 50, let's say 40%. Not even, like, the people that they're trying to fight against is such a small, minuscule number that it cannot compare to how many civilians and innocent people are in Palestine. So, in this video, let's see the hope in these children, for them to have a good new year this year. Oh my gosh, music though. Sorry, copyright chat. I hope it's not that loud that you can hear it. These are the people, these are the children that just want to live and be happy, okay? Remember, 50% of Palestine is just kids, which is why we need to just do everything in our power to urge for the bombings to stop. The bombings, the snipings, the tanks, everything. And I've talked about Miss Rachel before on this stream as well. Let me turn off the music a bit. Turn off, I mean turn on. But yeah, we've talked about Miss Rachel here. She's someone I really admire. She's one of the few people who had the guts to speak against Israel. And she got a lot of hate for it. And it's simply because she wants to protect children and because she loves all children. She's a famous YouTuber who makes videos for literally infants and children who are learning how to talk. I plan to use her videos as well for my classes, for my English classes, so my little ones can also. But Miss Rachel has been working with the PCRF, which is Palestine Children's Relief Fund, a fundraiser that I dedicate all my streams to as well. If anyone wants to donate, any amount helps. We've passed my goal. My goal was $333. We're over $500 in funding for the PCRF. And what Miss Rachel does is that she helps children who have escaped not escaped, but who were forced out of their own homeland, and providing aid and comfort for them. So this is something that children have to deal with. Miss Rachel shared a photo of a 6-year-old child's drawing. And she drew her family here. Happy. And this is what she told Miss Rachel. She says, I wait for the war to end so I can go to the graves of my mom, dad, brothers, and sisters to tell them to wake up. The war is over. This is just a 6-year-old kid, okay? And 6-year-old kids shouldn't just have their entire family annihilated. But this is what Mrs. Rachel is trying to portray to the public, to those who watch her content, anyone, that the real people who are suffering here are innocent, just like the 6-year-old kid. Everyone in Maja's picture of her family was killed but her. Her entire family's dead. And it's simply because there's this false narrative. Again, like I gave the example early on, the false narrative that, you know, because there's one bad guy in a country, we should just destroy the entire country. And Palestine is it's basically completely destroyed. Everything's gone, okay? I even can't believe it. Palestine used to be, there used to be buildings, there used to be life. Everything's gone, and right now Palestinians are suffering through a fucking intense, terrible winter and floods, okay? They don't even have electricity, medical aid, nothing. They have to live in tents and hope that the rain doesn't flood their tent. They have to hope that this winter isn't too harsh, or else their little ones will die, or their older you know, grannies and grandpas and stuff don't freeze to death. It's just, the thing is that as of recent, Israel is planning on banning a bunch of like aid providing organizations such as Doctors Without Borders. Like, are you kidding me? Doctors Without Borders is most likely going to be banned, okay, from helping Palestine, people from Palestine who are dying and suffering. Like, this is what happens when we ignore this sort of thing, okay? When we're not advocating for these people. This is why we gotta push and push and let our voices be heard. This is why you also gotta boycott. Hit them where it hurts. The wallet. The wallet is where it hurts the most, okay, guys? It's true. This is all being done because of money. For greed. Greed and money. You don't give them money, they got nothing, okay? So I really recommend you guys going to bds.com and find out what brands you need to boycott. Mostly Coca-Cola, Disney, Coca-Cola, Disney, Domino's, Pizza Hut. All the good ones, Burger King, McDonald's. They've all donated food or millions of dollars to kill Palestinian, to kill this kid's fucking family, okay? All because we're fat asses. Like, let's be for real. We can't like give up the McDonald's or the Starbucks. Let's be fucking for real here. At some point, we gotta have a mind of our own and say, no, I will not fund this shit. I will not fund this kid's entire family being fucking killed. And all it takes is the easiest thing to do on earth, okay? The easiest way to help these people is by just not buying the fucking burger. By not buying the mocha lattes, like, that's all it takes. I heard that in Starbucks, they're actually planning on closing like over 300 stores in the US. I keep hearing them closing stores in other countries. And I'm like, okay, but come on, the big guys are in the US, okay? And no, yeah. I've been hearing, I wish I should have showed you the source of that. But I totally forgot to add that in here. But no, yeah. They're starting to close branches in the US. That means something. Let's be for real though. Like, Starbucks sucks. It's not even good. Let's see what's next. So, as I'm like close to ending the section, speaking on Gaza and Palestine. Oh god, sorry guys. Again, I'm sick, so I'm not even 100% right now. So if I just sound weird sometimes, it's because I'm trying not to like die. Okay. So as I'm nearing the end of like the Palestine section, I kind of just want to reflect as well how much damage has been done to Gaza / Palestine. Okay, this is an infographic by Euro. How do you say that? Euro? How do you pronounce that? I'm not European. I guess it's Euro. Euro Med Monitor. Okay, they provided this infographic of all the violations that Israel has done from October 2023 to 2025. Okay, the end of this year. So let's just check it out a little bit. Also, there is an ad break. Sorry about that. So yeah, let's check that out. Gaza 2025, a year ends, genocide continues. Israel began a genocide against more than 2 million people in Gaza, in the Gaza Strip on October 7th, 2023, following a military attack carried out by Palestinian armed factions. Over the course of more than 25 months, Israel has used various forms of direct and indirect killing against Palestinians in the besieged enclave, which has been under blockade since 2006. Although the ceasefire came into effect on October 10th, 2025, Israel continues, okay guys, they're still doing this shit to this day, okay? Israel continues to commit acts of genocide in Gaza in different forms. For example, 12% of the population is either killed, injured, missing, or detained. Okay? That's a lot of people. 9 out of every 10 people killed are civilians. Oh my god. That's like that's literally 90%. 30% of casualties are children, 20% of casualties are women, and so far there's over 45,000 orphans, okay? Just like that little girl's drawing that we just saw, she's one of those people. Almost 100% of the population has been forcibly displaced at least once. Almost 100%. Everyone has lost their homes. They were told to move this way, to move that way. Go over there, go over here. You'll be safe. Bombed, killed, or survived, but losing a lot. This infographic shows that there's over 76,000 people killed. But this is like official, okay guys? This isn't every person. There's more people who are dead. This is just people who have been accounted for. This is not including people who are missing. People think that this number is probably double. I'm pretty sure there's more people killed, because 76 is just too little. From what I've seen, this is like, it's too little. I mean, a few months ago they kept saying 40,000 people were killed, and that stayed consistent for almost 2 years. So there's just a way more people who are dead. And I'm not gonna read all through this. But here, look at this little red section right there. I wonder if you guys can even see this. Here, let me zoom in for y'all. Boop. I think that's a bit better. Israel has violated the ceasefire over 900 times. How is that even possible? I mean, I know how it's possible, but how are we letting this happen? This goes against, like, all laws, international law. How is it possible that people are still not even people, but like our governments aren't taking responsibility over this? It's just insane to me. And it's because we're letting them. We're not being loud enough. It's literally insane. And so I just want you guys to keep that in mind, that this is still ongoing. And things are quiet now. Let's be for real. Things are quiet now. And the reason why they're quiet is because, like I showed you earlier just now, a bunch of journalists have been killed. Okay? The people who are reporting on this and showing evidence have been killed multiple times. Are we really gonna just wait here until they kill everybody? I hope the answer is no. I really do. Next. One thing that has been, I mean, with all the news that keeps happening, I feel like this didn't go around the internet for very long. But surprisingly, I mean, I haven't heard of any other actors other than the ones who were on the flotilla boats. But Angelina Jolie went to the Rafah crossing in Egypt, and she was there to witness everything that was happening and trying to help. This is the type of action that we need. People with power, people with fame need to be using their privilege and power to push our governments to do something, or to push the people to be inspired and to basically care. So this is her over here. This is a better view of her actually there. Let me turn off. Sorry, I can't breathe. Just let me turn off the the música here and turn this up. So this is her. Let's zoom in a bit. So breaking, American actress Angelina Jolie visits Rafah crossing to oversee humanitarian aid for Palestinians. And this was January 2nd. I see. Sorry, I'm used to the No, I'm just amazed. There wasn't much other than this and then her talking about it that I saw. I'm assuming for safety reasons. But I was just so surprised. I was like, damn, like, I haven't heard from you in a while. There must be a reason for that. But I'm happy that people were reporting on it. I mean, they have to. Like, how can you ignore it? Oh, wait. Is this why you guys are saying it's muted? Because I'm not even seeing the desktop audio. No! Can you guys hear this? Oh, God. Have it. Okay, thank God I caught this now. TamaTalks playlist. PowerPoint. Subbies. Capture. Was it PowerPoint? Bruh. Ryan. Who's Ryan? I don't know who that is. Oh my God. I turned off YouTube? Why did I do that? Oh God, I'm gonna flip a table. Ali was right, but he thought that I was muted because there was no sound on the videos. And there's still no sound. I'm going to flip a table. A ver. Okay, you still can't hear it. This is so annoying. I checked everything. I'm gonna have a crash out right now. I'm gonna flip a table right now. Because I double checked everything. Everything was working! Fudge! Well, I guess we won't be hearing stuff. F me. Don't do that. But no, yeah, Angelina Jolie was over there talking about you know, her perception of things. Sorry chat, I don't know why this keeps happening every time I do this. Let me remove this. Yep. Let me remove this as well. And yep, get out of here. I'm going to make another display capture. Is it display capture or browser? No, not display capture. Da 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 da. No, but yeah. Oh, hello, Careless. How are you? You can't even see my face. Give me a sec. I'm trying out. Oh no, well, not like that. Don't get close to me. Thank you. I gotta get used to my zoomies. That sounds kind of weird. That sounds illegal, but I meant like literally zoom. No, yeah, I'm going to select a window. It's gonna be this one, and I'm gonna capture audio beta. Look at how many tabs I have on. That's insane. And then I'm just gonna do this. Whoop! and I'm gonna hide her. You guys don't see her, but hopefully you can hear her. This is how I do this here, chat. A ver, window capture. Oh shit, that is super loud. I'll put it down here. Please! Work! I see. It hates me. But let me read chat before I crash out again. Oh no, there's nothing there. Okay. Well, yeah, I guess we won't be able to see videos, I suppose. I'm just going to remove this for a bit. Because we can't hear anything. For no good reason. But yeah, she ended up being there. And speaking of people helping Palestinians over there, there's actually going to be another mission from the Global Summit Flotillas this spring 2026. They're going to go over there again, and this time they're going to have over 3,000 volunteers. I don't remember how many they had last time. But I think this is more than last time. I don't remember how much. You guys have to watch the VODs. But no, yeah. They're doing it again, okay? To establish unarmed protective presence and support Gaza as it rebuilds. So they're gonna go and hopefully they don't kidnap them this time. That was terrible, chat, having to witness that. Having to witness each boat one by one be captured and seized and everyone being kidnapped and wondering if they're okay. Having to see the boats be fucking bombed too by Israeli drones. Like, are you kidding me? I hope they don't interfere this time or fucking do anything worse. But when they escaped, I actually started talking about, not escape, but when they were released, I started talking about some of the people's testimonies, especially Greta Thunberg's testimony. Now, I admire that kid a lot too. She's younger than me. She's not a kid, she's a woman. But I think she's like in her early 20s. And I really appreciate her making it clear that, you know, people in Palestine suffer way worse, and she didn't want to make what she suffered like the main show, right? They ended up doing very terrible things to her while she was in prison, the Israeli prisons, amongst the other people who volunteered there as well. It turns out that Greta Thunberg was mocked and forced to kneel in front of everyone, and she was being kicked by the soldiers, and also forced to kiss the Israel flag as a way to mock and basically dehumanize her. Basically, they were trying their best to hold back because Palestinians, again, like she said, face worse things. But no, yeah, they were doing their best to humiliate her like they do to the Palestinians. I'm happy everyone survived, okay? That's what's most important, of course. But and this wasn't being talked about, by the way. A few days ago, it was revealed that actually one of the people who were in those boats ended up being trigger warning sexual abuse. Ended up being raped in the prisons after they were kidnapped from the flotilla boats, okay? During her custody, she was sexually abused. And I didn't think they would go that far, but they did. This is something that they love doing to their prisoners over there. And they did it to her. So, I'm kind of disappointed that we can't hear shit though. But hopefully if I make another capture window, maybe it might work. Let's see. Bashar Sapin. Let's try this one. Let's see if this one works, chat. I'm gonna sneeze again. Sorry. I might mute. Please tell me if I don't unmute, because I keep forgetting to do that. They don't have audio filters. The thing is that you guys can't hear it. Damn it. Rename filters. Is there no advanced properties? Wait. Let's see. Please work. Okay, well, I guess I could read what she says. Sorry, chat. I don't know why this keeps happening. I'll just play it while in the background until it hopefully works. Oh god. Sorry, I'm hearing her as she talks, but give me a sec. God damn it. Okay. I'm just gonna read what she's saying, but I'll start from here. I'm sharing this as, again, to say it again. Not just for me, and not just because I'm the only one that experienced it, because this is not true. I'm sharing it for all the women who experience the sexual violence and sexual torture in the prisons. For all the women who have experienced similar horrible things in the prison, and probably are experiencing them right now, as we're speaking in this conference. I'm speaking in behalf of those who did not survive those attacks, those who cannot speak about it, because they're in prison. And again, I am not the one that should feel ashamed. It is the Zionist states and its prisons guards who should feel ashamed. But on the other hand, there's nothing else to expect from states, like those a couple of times we heard from Palestinian prisoners, especially from female prisoners, about the situation in Zionist prisons. And so what else should we expect from Zionist prisons, from a Zionist fascist state? One thing is very important. It did not break my will. There's so many role models, so many women, comrades, so many brave women I take a lot of strength from. And looking back at history, women have always been stronger than that. And I will end my speech with saying this. I will not stop fighting for justice and the end of violence until every woman is free and has received justice. I will not stop fighting until patriarchy... They ended that way too fast. Patriarchy does not exist anymore. There we go. God damn. Shit, what did they do to her? The assault took place during a strip search while being transferred between Israeli prisons after Israeli forces intercepted the Gaza-bound humanitarian vessel in fall of 2025. We were all witnesses to that, and I was actually live viewing it as it happened. We were transferred from one prison to another, and during the strip searches, I was raped. She was held for 5 days following the interception of Conscience, which aimed to challenge Israel's naval blockade of Gaza. Prisoner advocacy groups say her testimony adds to mounting evidence of systematic sexual abuse in Israeli detention. I see. Okay. No, that's the thing. Like, when I was talking about this last time, I was telling y'all that I was afraid they were gonna kill him. Because Israel has a huge history of just like killing protesters or killing, you know, humanitarian advocacy groups. Heck, I just showed you the people that they killed who are journalists. These people are protected under international law, okay? So like she said, it's like, hey, we expected this would happen. I mean, a lot of people said, a lot of Palestinian people say that this is what they suffer, and of course we were gonna suffer that. Either only me or anyone else. This is just like terrible. And I wonder like what else happened. And I just hope that this ends up being a success. You know, they do not kidnap people, they do not send them to prison. They just let these people go into Palestine, go into Gaza, give them the aid that they need and assistance that they need to rebuild their life again. That's all we want. Why is that illegal? Why are people trying to prevent that? Not people. God damn it, our governments. Why are our governments trying to prevent that? And it's an easy answer, okay? It's because for profit again, for oil, for land. But we gotta say no. We gotta stop this. And this is what the Global Summit Flotilla is all about. Okay? A bunch of these people are just volunteers, are civilians from around the world. I know there was at least one Japanese person that ended up joining this flotilla. I wonder what happened to her. Maybe I can find her and you know, get like testimony from her depending on where she's from. But no, yeah, everyone from around the world is joining up. And I'm assuming they're going to join up again in Europe. I'm not sure though. Last time they were being pretty secretive about this whole thing because they were trying to avoid like spies or people sabotaging the mission. And apparently there was rumors going on. I don't know if this is true. This is just hearsay, but there was like someone being a traitor in one of them. So this is why sometimes we don't get enough information until the day it happens. I mean, that's what happened last time. Everyone, including myself, while I was talking about it on stream, we were wondering like, well, how many people is it? And where? And, you know, and how? And how many, you know, how many boats? Shit. Until like the very day that they set sail, or not all of them, because all of them ended up sailing in batches, but that's how we got the idea of how many boats ended up going and how many people from each country ended up going. But yeah, they're preparing again to sail in spring. Thousands of participants, more than 100 boats, and expanded goals. So this time they have different goals. I see. Act now. Will you join us? Donate, mobilize, sell. Registrations open soon. So, you and me, anyone here, can actually participate by either donating, mobilizing, or actually volunteering to set sail and go straight to Gaza. The thing is here, there's so much at risk here. These people's life, you will literally put your life in danger. Okay? Israel can just command your boat to be bombed and poof, you're gone. Israel can kidnap you, send you to prison, torture you, rape you, or kill you. Boom, over. Okay, so these people who are volunteering have their life to lose. And they're very brave because they're doing it in the name of humanity, okay? To help people from Palestine. And that's very brave. So that's a food for thought. I'm sure there's more people who want to help. And if you can, well, consider doing any of these 3 things, okay? Let me blow my nose for a bit. Jesus Christ, I hope you guys did not hear that. I sound like an elephant when I blow my nose. I hate it. Ugh. How long must I be sick for? Now, everyone here, or who has at least watched me for a long time, has been hearing a lot about Gaza. Now, I know I took a break for like, what, about a month or 2? I can't remember. Many weeks. And I left on a very sad note, of course. But during that, I still kept up with the news. And there was a specific scene that I saw from Sudan that fucking shocked me to my core. Like, I was in shock. I was in horror, basically. I was horrified. And I was like, you know what? I take these things seriously. I've already heard about Sudan and Congo, but I never dove deeper into it as much as I did with Palestine. And I kind of wanted to take this time to learn with my community more about Sudan specifically because of the image that I saw. And I'd like to share those images with y'all. Let me just sorry, I'm gonna take like a small break. Give me a sec, chat. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. It is not Christmas, but it's close enough. Okay. Okay. I was trying to see if I could fix the problem by making other sources. But by doing that, it breaks something else within this. So I'll do my best to get my point across. I really wanted to watch some videos with y'all, so I'm really disappointed. But I want you guys to look at these two photos. This is Saleh, someone that we all mourned that I got to show you on my last stream. And this person, I didn't know them, but let's read more about them. So this is from Sameh Ahmad. The person you see before you is Muammar Ibrahim, a Sudanese journalist. You could say he is the Sudan's version of Saleh al-Jafrawi, sorry. Just as what happened to Saleh, may he rest in peace, is happening now to Muammar Ibrahim, who is currently in the custody of the Rapid Support Forces, or RSF, simply because he chose to be the voice of Sudan. According to Al-Fateh, one of the RSF commanders, in a statement to Al Jazeera, Muammar Ibrahim is indeed in their custody, and since then there has been no news on him. The same reason that led to the martyrdom of Saleh al-Jafari is the same reason that may cause the loss of Muammar Ibrahim. Speak about Muammar Ibrahim, let people know who he is. Your post could be the reason for saving your brother, who chose to be the voice of his people in Sudan. We must raise our voices and demand his freedom. Save Sudan before it's too late. So, a little recap on what happened to Saleh. Saleh was obviously a well-loved journalist in Palestine. And the unfortunate thing is that the way he died was terrible. He didn't even die by... Well, he did die by Israel, but what ended up happening is that Israel, as usual, paid off like actual criminals who are basically traitors within Palestine, and ordered them to kidnap Saleh and torture him to death, and ended up murdering him. So this is what is happening to the man on the right as well. I'm not sure if he is okay or not, but I want people to like sit down and think about, wait a second, what is going on in Sudan? And you know, we've all heard the story before. People are getting bombed, people are getting killed. In this case, people are getting murdered by their own people who are traitors, who have sold their souls to the colonizer. So I'd like to kind of dive into Sudan a little bit. I'm not well versed in this section of history as well as with Venezuela, but I'd still like to sit down and reflect on the things that we will experience right now. Sorry, my nose. So I will show you the photo that horrified me. So let's zoom in here. Let me make sure nothing goes against TOS. But yeah, let's zoom in here. Let's zoom in. Oop. So I wish you could see my mouse. I really wish you could see my mouse. Okay, there we go. Okay, I'm gonna press on this. Hopefully nothing bad pops out. Oh god, it wasn't this one. Okay, I got the wrong post. Jesus, chat, I'm so sorry. Okay, but you know what? Maybe this is for the best because it might go against TOS. That was kind of bars. But basically, chat, let me describe the photo that I was trying to tell you about. My bad. But there was a Google Maps photo going around on the internet a month or two ago, and I didn't really comprehend what I was seeing until like I read the description of the picture. But basically what I saw was like a red splatter, like a, not like a red dot, but a red splatter on Google Maps. I was like, well, what's that? Why is this picture circulating? And it turns out that that picture was a satellite picture uploaded to Google Maps of the aftermath of a huge massacre, okay? The massacre was so big that the blood of the people who were murdered spilt on the soil, and you could see it from the satellite view, the amount of blood that was shown from the satellite. And once I saw that, or once I like realized that, I was fucking horrified. Like, how many people were killed that you could see it from the sky, from the satellite vision. It's just a pool of blood. Oh my god, you know? And so that's what kind of pushed me more into figuring out what was going on in Sudan. And I also ended up, and I can't show the images I'm about to describe to you right now because these were really bad images, but I also saw images of people basically tormenting this mother and her 3 children. She was hugging all of her children while these guys like just poked fun with her with their guns. And she was obviously terrified. Her children were obviously terrified as well. And I was terrified, you know, thinking, am I gonna witness a fucking murder in this video? And, you know, before anything happened, the video stopped. But within the video, then you see the end result, basically. And the end result was the mother being hung from the tree. And she was just dead. I don't know. When I see stuff like that, chat, I'm the type, this is how, because I do not like looking at gore, okay? I've always like made it my policy, even as a kid, because for some reason like a bunch of people went through this phase where they thought that looking at gore was cool and stuff, and so they would go to the dark web and purposely try to find videos of people getting like killed and stuff for funsies. I was never like that. For me, I'm like, hey, during someone's terrible last moments, I think I'd at least want to respect their last moments. Like, I don't think someone would want me to witness them being brutally murdered in the worst way possible and have that be the way I remember them by. But now that things have changed a little bit when it comes to this, people are begging, people who are suffering are begging others to witness their pain and do something about it and to speak for them. So, you know, if it appears before me out of respect, I'm like, okay, I have to watch this. But I won't replay it or, you know, make sure, like, I will just let it happen and then try to process what I just saw, not go insane. I used to go insane, not gonna lie. I think now I'm just like fucked up in the brain a bit. But in this case, you know, I don't even know if the kids are alright. I don't think so. I don't think they're alive. But that really broke my heart, seeing a mother terrified. There was nothing she could do, honestly. She could only just hold on to her children. And then all of a sudden the video ends and then they just show you a picture of her being hung. And I just, like, how could you do that to your own people? You know, what is going on in Sudan and other places that are having similar experiences where this type of brutality is being accepted, you know? And then, you know, you think of Palestine, it's like, okay, that one makes sense. Well, what's causing Sudan's pain? This is a little journalistic view of what's going on in Sudan. Actually, chat, I'm gonna try and see if I don't know if I should end stream, because I know that YouTube will keep everything together in the VOD, but Twitch won't. But I just really wanted to react to things with y'all, you know? I don't want to fucking... I don't want to... Oh shit, sorry. That was a close one. I don't want to not show you guys what I was planning on showing you guys and reacting to with you. If all of this explanation really relies heavily on some YouTube videos that I gathered up for y'all so we could learn together. As I'm trying to talk while being unable to breathe through my fucking nose. So I think I'll try to end the stream. And then if it works, I'll come back in a few minutes. But if it doesn't fucking work, I'm just gonna have to either do it tomorrow earlier than expected. Or next week, but I don't want to push it till next week because stuff always happens and I have to keep up with what's happening, okay? So give me a sec. I'll be right back. Are you sure you want to stop stream? No, I don't. I really don't. Okay, YouTubers, if this stops, I will make a part 2, okay? I'll be right back.
I'm sorry, but it's evident. You're on your phone 24/7. No reply when I text at 11:10, and I swear you only tell me what I wanna hear. The real thoughts buried deep beneath the love and fears. I'm in a muddle, lost inside a puzzle here. Honestly, right now I don't really see no love in here, but I saw something in you, something in us. But I can't see a future without the trust, so I'm reminiscing visions I had. I can't listen, but that's what I started. Paint a picture like an artist, you're looking like the victim, but really I am the target, and I ain't asking for anyone's energy. I swear medically I'm needing a remedy or therapy to stop myself feeling so heavily. Mentally I haven't been acting how I'm meant to be.
Find and sold on the market in Dubai, it becomes 100% legal. As a new gold rush is taking over the world, driving up the price of gold to historic levels.
I think this is playing. Let me look at YouTube and see if it's still live or not. I hope. I don't know why it's reloading. Okay, so it ended give me a sec. I don't know. News. News! Okay, select source. Ore! Pre-broadcast! No! Christ! Is it playing? Yes. Okay, I think we are back. We're back, right? Oh, yeah, it shows everything is good, although the Twitch one is being weird, but it's always been weird, so whatever. Oh god! Oh god, chat. I don't know what is up with OBS, but it's fine. It's just my luck. It always does that. It always does that. But it's okay. I fixed the audio. I checked! I literally checked. If it's not fixed, I'm going to flip a table. Let's try this. Fucking again. Yosha. Okay, Yosha. So yeah, I described to you guys the horrific scenes that I saw in Sudan, and I kind of want to dive into that. But before that, let's have you guys see their pain through Al Jazeera. The reporting of Al Jazeera. Let me turn off this, and then this is being sussy. This is legit being sussy, chat. Because I saw it working. Ade? Are? Yeah? It disappeared. What? Oh, okay. What? Why? What? No! Chat. Okay. Let's see if we can hear it. Please. Oh, you can! Fuck. Okay. Shit. So, oh. Okay, I'm sorry, chat. I hate it when it does that. I really want to, like, take things seriously and have things work. And I can't do that when my shit ain't working. Oh my god. I fucking swear. And now it's all weird looking. Bug, but it's fine. At least it's fucking hell, at least it's working, so but yeah, let me just zoom in again. It looked better when it wasn't. So let me read this. New footage shows RSF drones striking shelters and mosques in one attack. At least 57 people were killed, including 17 children. Jesus Christ, 17 kids. So I'm gonna read what she is saying. We are displaced. We have nothing to do with this war. With the RSF, we are citizens who just want to live. Sudan has accused the United Arab Emirates of arming the RSF, which the UAE denies. In September of 2025, leaked documents show the UN and US pleaded with the United Arab Emirates to allow aid into El Fashir. The talks effectively collapsed with no resolution. At least 171 children have died there from hunger since August, local media report. The siege has cut off access to food aid, forcing some to survive on animal feed. Local rights groups say about 30 people die each day from hunger, violence, or disease. People attacked the center. This is Abdullah Adam Isa, displaced Sudanese person. People attacked the center and killed 2 of us. Wounded 3 or 4 and took all the ambas animal feed. Blankets, juices, and food supplies belonging to the residents. As violence grows, people in El Fashir are sheltering underground and live in constant fear of drones. The RSF and Sudan's army have been fighting a brutal war for control of the country since April 2023. El Fashir is the army's last major stronghold in western Sudan. Human rights groups say the city has become uninhabitable. Okay, so there's a lot of questions here, right? It's like, well, who the fuck is the RSF? Why is the UAE funding the RSF? And why are they killing so many people? And I found a really good video that explains that very well. Let me just get it out here. I'm gonna go a bit quick because this kind of ruined most of my plans here. Let me put this up here. This is not in the center, chat. This is not in the center. It just... Why did it screw up everything, chat? Someone explain to me. This is insane. Okay. How does this even happen? You see how annoying I am too with this stuff? I take like hours too preparing before stream, so this is super annoying when things don't go my way. Shit. A ver. Oh my god, that is terrible cropping. But let me just fix it a bit. There we go. Yosha. Yosha. Is this in the middle enough? Should I be satisfied with this? Yeah, but okay, so this video actually explains pretty well in a short format. Of course, this is only, oh my god, this is 20 minutes long. But it explains pretty well. I mean, it's fine. It explains pretty well what's going on in Sudan. And I'd like to react with it with y'all. How everything that's happening is because of the UAE's greedy need for gold. So let's just dive into the video and let me press play.
Itself into a global hub. You arrive at Dubai International Airport. You are carrying a bag full of gold. I mean full. Gold bars, jewelry, chunks of raw, unrefined gold, full. Everyone from your flight walks towards passport control, but you wheel your carry-on bag the other way, towards the transit terminal. You sit down at a cafe, and a short while later, another traveler appears. He puts his bag down, picks yours up, and walks the other way. You finish your coffee, pick up his bag, and board the next flight back to where you just came from. You don't open the bag, but you know that inside is $2.5 million in cash. I know, it sounds like a bank heist, right? But this is how more than 400 tons of smuggled gold enters the UAE every year from Africa, worth around
400
$30 billion. And here's the
What?
thing. Once that smuggled gold is melted, refined, and sold on the market in Dubai, it becomes 100% legal. As a new gold rush is taking over the world, driving up the price of gold to historic levels, the UAE has strategically turned itself into a global hub for gold and gold laundering, and has done this partly through financing civil war in Africa, and in particular Sudan, where a brutal all-out war has waged for more than a year between the country's military and a rogue mercenary army that's figured out how to exchange gold for weapons. Now, the UAE's role in Africa is complicated. It's a weave of land purchases, regional influence, and access to the vital trade routes along the Red Sea. But the unfettered flow of gold has become the grease that oils its relationship with Sudan and its neighbors. A flow that continues unabated by war or political turmoil. So, how is this happening?
Okay, so let's take a break right there. So yeah, basically, paraphrasing, since I don't know, some people might not understand from that small portion that we saw, but basically, the UAE is funding civil war within Sudan and other African countries to have civil war and profit from the gold that is stolen or obtained by these, militias that they fund, and just make profit. Right now there's been like this huge gold surge. I don't know if anyone has noticed all of the I didn't even know what country it was from. I just realized right now that it was from the UAE and Dubai. I think that's within that place. But whenever you go on TikTok on Yik Yak, there was a point of time where there's this place being marketed as this like utopia with a shit ton of gold everywhere, and that they had the best chocolate, the Dubai chocolate. That's right. They were promoting the fucking chocolate a lot, like the pistachio thing. And they were going like super hardcore with the gold, and like they were even showing off gold bills and stuff. And I always thought that was weird. Like, I was like, damn, is that real? Because if it is, like, how are they even capable of making stuff like that? So when I saw this video and I realized that, well, they can't really they can't really obtain all that gold from their own country. They have to go to Africa and take that gold away in some way or form. And the easiest way for them to do that is by funding civil wars within Africa, especially Sudan. So let's go back to the video for a bit and then we'll pause and reflect on what we hear. Boop. Let me press play.
And how is it fueling the war in Sudan? My name is Mohammed Hassan, and this is the big picture. Here's a graph that tells the story. It shows the price of gold over the last 50 years. What do you notice? Put simply, there's so much anxiety right now around the world and around the future of the global economy. The power of the petrodollar is waning, with the Middle East increasingly unstable, and more countries are looking to abandon the US currency altogether. In particular, I'm talking about China, India, and Russia. And so
China!
Central banks around the world
Sorry.
are reacting, and they've started looking for an independent currency that can secure their monetary reserves. Hence, we want the gold, sucker! But there's one problem. Gold is not like the US dollar or even Bitcoin. It's real, and it's heavy. That means it has to be physically moved from one place to another. If you want to buy gold, you have to go to where it's being sold. That's where Dubai comes in. It's had a gold souk since the early 1900s, but when the country had its oil boom in the 1970s, it started attracting people from all around the world. It built its airport, became a playground for the rich and famous, and its gold market grew and grew. With a 0% tariff on bringing gold into the country, it quickly became the ideal place to import, refine, and sell.
Wait, 0% tariff? What the fuck? See, that's where you... If something sounds too good to be true, chat. Zero? How? Like, we have to... How? Bruh, tell me how, brother. How the fuck? Continue. Buh.
Today, the so-called City of Gold is home to more than 20 gold refiners and 7,000 gold traders. It imports more than 1,000 tons of gold each year, and 2/3 of that comes from Africa. But here is where the problem begins.
Most of the important airports in Africa have regular flights to Dubai, so it's also very convenient for traders to go there. And when they get there, they have very easy access to companies that are willing to buy the gold they're carrying. A good part of this gold is carried with hand luggage, and once again, it's not being checked upon import. And thanks to corruption and other mechanisms, it's also sometimes not, very often actually, not checked upon export in the African countries. So they can get away with controls at the borders. It works quite effectively.
Yuval Schultz worked on a report earlier this year that looked at the gold transferred between Africa and the UAE. This is how much gold African countries are saying they're exporting to the UAE. But this is how much gold the UAE says it imported from African countries in 2022. There is more than 400 tons of gold missing there. According to Schultz, this is a clear sign that gold was smuggled. But why? Despite the large gold reserves in Africa, many countries were caught off guard by the sudden spike in demand for gold over the last 2 decades. They didn't have the infrastructure, the equipment, or the laws in place to regulate gold mining on an industrial scale. That left a huge vacuum that was filled by artisanal and small-scale gold miners, or ASM. If you owned a piece of land that had gold on it, you could pay a private company to explore, mine, and transport that gold on your behalf. And of course, given what you're exporting is pretty valuable, that company probably needs to have its own form of security. And that's a polite way of saying a militia.
And when you have a very volatile situation or even an armed conflict like in Sudan, then of course you have these armed groups that seek to take control of the mines and enrich themselves by trading the yellow metal. And that's typically what we're observing at the moment in Sudan.
Sudan has been in a state of near constant war for decades, and its former leader, Omar al-Bashir, fueled the conflict by empowering both the military as well as regional mercenary groups to help him quash anti-government rebellions in places like Darfur, where the worst of the fighting was taking place. In 2011, the international community stepped in, splitting the country along ethnic and religious lines and forming South Sudan. The problem was 75% of Sudan's large oil reserves were in the south. And overnight, the government lost its single biggest source of income. Now, Sudan always knew it had gold, but it had never really explored it before. It also had a big problem. After the war in Darfur, crippling US sanctions meant that Sudan couldn't just hire international mining companies to help it set up its industry. So instead, al-Bashir handed out subsidized contracts to anyone who had the means to mine that gold. And most of those contracts went to generals and rebel leaders who'd helped him fight in Darfur. With so many actors.
Okay. So basically, other country wants gold. They pay off the people who have power to give them that gold for profit. And usually, people like that end up being corrupt and abusing their own people. See, this is just like a repeat of history. This makes a lot of sense.
And little to no official regulation, what should have become Sudan's burgeoning gold industry instead became ripe with corruption. In 2017, reports started reaching the country's trade ministry that Khartoum airport and the port of Sudan were being used to smuggle out gold, mostly heading to the UAE. In one example, a 2-ton barrel of sand samples being loaded onto an Emirates airline flight was found to be largely made up of raw gold. In another instance, a sick woman was driven to the door of her flight in an ambulance. But the paramedic who was helping her get onto her flight was caught trying to sneak gold bars he'd hidden inside of an oxygen cylinder into her bag. In 2018, Sudan's trade minister Musa Karama sounded the alarm.
مطار الخرطوم أكبر منفذ للتهريب وأنه في عام 2015 طلعت منه 102 طن من مطار الخرطوم ومطار دبي. في الوقت اللي بتقول حكومة السودان إنه إنتاجها كله في هذا العام كان 70 طن فقط. لو ال 100 طن دي كلها جات لبنك السودان يعني الطن بحوالي 46 مليون دولار. يعني نتكلم عن 4 مليار ونص.
Damn it, I forgot to read that for y'all. I was so into it, I forgot to read the subtitles, my bad. So, you're talking about $4.6 billion, okay? That's more than half of our total export revenue. It's that simple. Okay, let me read that from the very beginning, actually. Khartoum Airport is the main exit point for smuggled gold. And in 2015, about 102 tons of gold left the airport for Dubai Airport. That same year, Sudan's government said its total gold output was 70? What's 70 tons? Okay, liars. Lamau lie. They lied. So you're talking about $4.6 billion. That's more than half of our total export revenue. It's
One of
that
the biggest
simple.
untapped mines in the country was Jebel Amr in North Darfur. It quickly fell into the hands of Hameti, or Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo, the leader of the Rapid Support Forces. The RSF was a paramilitary group that grew out of the Janjaweed militia.
Okay,
Its
these are the
leaders
people.
had been charged by the International Criminal Court with committing dozens of war crimes in Darfur. Hamiti set up a private
do a
firm
shit
to
ton of war
oversee the
crimes.
gold production, Al Junaid Company, and left his brother in charge of it. The revenue from the gold would allow the RSF to expand, buy weapons, and make Hamiti one of the richest and most powerful men in Sudan.
The RSF is rich. They have business interests and business holdings that will, I mean, Hamiti bailed out the National Bank. It is one
What?
rich family, and they have
Imagine
fingers
bailing
in
out a
everything.
camp. That's
And all their
fucking
businesses
crazy.
are based in the UAE.
During his rise to power, Hamiti began fostering
That's
close ties
fucking
to
insane.
the UAE, where most of his financial operations were based, as well as Russia, which had long been Sudan's main military supplier. Russia was gearing up for an invasion of Ukraine and had begun stockpiling gold to finance its war effort. Its Wagner mercenary group had been active in Sudan since 2014, helping.
Wait, so they're involved with Ukraine too? That's insane. But no, it's not. But like, shit. Okay.
Secure mining operations and facilitating the smuggling of gold out of the country. When Omar al-Bashir was toppled by a popular uprising in 2019, that relationship continued to flourish. Just days after the start of the Ukraine invasion, a Russian cargo plane carrying boxes of cookies was inspected by Khartoum
Not
airport
cookies.
officials. Turns out they weren't cookies. It was actually a ton of pure gold.
Shit.
The flight was one of 16 that year, likely facilitated by Sudan's army and likely heading to a Russian military base in Syria. Sudan's transitional government, now headed by the army chief Abdel Fattah al-Burhan and Hamidti as his deputy, attempted to consolidate the gold sector. In 2020, it nationalized the lucrative Jebel Amr mine and bought it from Hamidti's brother for $200 million, offering him an additional 33% of shares in Sudamin, the company set up to oversee gold mining. Not just that, but the RSF was assigned to secure the mine's operations, and this was a sign of what was to come. Despite promising to withdraw and allow the democratic process to take place, the Sudanese armed forces overthrew the transitional government and seized control in 2021. But quickly, with protests outraged by the coup taking over the country, the army struggled to control it. So they turned to Hamidti for help.
The army couldn't hold on to security, so they invited the RSF into the capital to secure it for them, because they never thought the RSF would turn on them. Because of those miscalculations, we were at that point where Hamidti actually believed that he could wage war and he could win this war.
Remember Wagner? Now, they had helped train RSF.
Okay, so basically, okay. Let's slow down here. So the government hired the RSF, these militias with a shit ton of guns, and those people turned against them. And right now, I'm assuming, yeah, everything's amok right now. Everything's insane because you have these people who just want profit, who just want to get the money they receive from like collecting all this gold. And in the beginning of the video, you saw how a very small amount of gold was in the dirt, right? That these people were finding. You know, you don't just find gold like in a huge ass stack, right? You have to look for gold and find little pieces of gold. And so it takes a while for, like, you know, people to have enough gold to make bars of gold, literal tons of gold, right? So what I also assume and understand is that they're also like forcing the civilians into making this gold. Basically modern day slavery. Like, slavery has never really gone away, and these poor people are being forced to work a shit ton just to get this gold with no food, no water, no resources, and just being abused by this militia, the RSF, that is apparently being funded by the UAE to satisfy their need for gold. And it's just a shame because there was a government, and of course in every, I mean, I don't want to say every, but I mean, it's pretty obvious that when people are in power, they're going to do corrupt things, right? Either that or they don't govern well and they don't do things right. And these people just lost control, and it ended up fucking up the government really bad.
Forces, and actually recruited them to fight in another civil war in Libya a year earlier. Russia and the UAE, who were both deeply involved in Libya, were impressed by the RSF's fighting ability and began to see Hamidti as the man they believed could rule Sudan, and the man who could secure the gold. 5 months earlier, the UAE had inked a deal to build Sudan a $6 billion port that would act as a special economic zone between the two countries, so it was very invested. The same year, the UAE imported 39 tons of gold directly from Sudan, valued at around $2 billion. But UN data suggests that another 20 tons of gold was smuggled from
Sudan. Shit, they just made a port just
Egypt,
like that.
Ethiopia, and South Sudan. By the time war broke out again in April the following year, Reports suggest that nearly all the gold that left Sudan's borders was flowing straight to Dubai. This picture was taken in March 2023. It shows Hamiti shaking hands with Emirati ruler Mohammed bin Zayed during a long trip that he took to Abu Dhabi. During that trip, he also met with the other man in the photo, Deputy Prime Minister Sheikh Mansour, to discuss efforts to resolve
Hi,
the
Homer.
Sudanese crisis. But as soon as Hamiti returned from that trip, he put his plan into action. On April 15, RSF
my God.
forces entered Khartoum and attempted to take control.
Ah,
All-out
wait,
war was
TOS.
declared against the Sudanese armed forces, and Hamiti made crystal clear his ambitions to take over.
Okay. Damn.
The war
And
devastated
people are
Sudan,
being
killing
displaced.
over
Jesus.
15,000 civilians and leaving more than 10 million displaced. The United Nations has called the situation a humanitarian nightmare. With 26 million people, that's half of all Sudanese at risk of acute hunger. This in a country that's still exporting billions of dollars worth of gold every year.
We
That's
were
true.
dragged into this war. We had warned about it as activists, as members of civic society. We had warned about this. That's why we were always chanting, to the RSF needs to be dissolved, the army needs to be, pushed back from politics and so on. But we weren't listened to. We were cast aside, and we're the ones who are now paying the price. It's not the politicians, it's not the army generals, it's not the militia, it's us. For many of us, we've lost everything, and we can't even start from scratch because we're not being allowed to start from scratch. So it's just this sense of, where do we go from here? What do we do now? And it's also that sense that no one actually cares. It's very disconcerting in a bit, as in, because I see people, for example, talking about Gaza the whole time.
Yep.
I'm all for it. But when you talk about Congo or Sudan or something else, they're like, oh, but it's between, it's between your own people. But they don't seem to understand that it's not between our two people. It's a proxy. We're being used as a proxy for other countries, and these other countries wield way too much power.
As the fighting in Sudan went on month after month, people started asking, where's Hamiti getting all these weapons? All of these tanks and drones? Well, officials in Libya told us that the RSF allegedly have been armed on the Emiratis' behalf through Libyan
can't read that.
proxies. The military shipments would be flown from Libyan
Oh, sorry.
airports to the Central African Republic, then driven overland into Darfur. Wagner Group, which has been working
Oh,
with the
hi,
CAR's
Tayo.
embattled government, had
are
transported
you?
advanced weapons across the border into Sudan, including missiles and anti-aircraft systems. The same thing was happening in Chad, where cargo flights from the UAE have been landing on a daily basis in a remote border town, supplying powerful weapons and drones, treating injured RSF fighters, and airlifting some of them to military hospitals in Abu Dhabi. In Uganda, the leadership holds strong ties with Hamiti's family and the UAE. In August 2023, this video
Jesus
was
Christ.
captured of a private plane belonging to a Ugandan company landing in Sudan's North Kordofan state. According to local sources, the plane had arrived from the UAE and was carrying Russian-made artillery rockets. Last November, Sudan's army generals called out the Emirates directly.
Oh, as for the UAE, I cannot. I know a thing as terrorist organization. I know a mafia organization, a criminal organization, but a mafia state. This is the first time we hear such a
The
thing.
UAE has denied these allegations, saying it was
Well, of
only
course they have.
providing humanitarian support and that it has consistently called for de-escalation,
How?
a ceasefire, and the initiation of diplomatic dialogue. The RSF has also denied it's getting weapons from the UAE. They
How?
say that they have their own means of accessing and transporting arms. And while ceasefire
How?
talks start and stop without any progress, Hamiti has continued his diplomatic visits to African neighbors, painting himself as the man trying to save Sudan.
Oh, I address you today as our country continues to witness more bloodshed due to curse war of April 15. The war ignited by remnants of the former regime forced us into combat against our will. Allah is our witness that we sought sincerely to avoid it and spare our country from catastrophes until the treacherous attack was launched against us, leaving us no choice but to fight in self-defense. Liar! Hence, we call for the formation of an international investigative committee to determine who ignited this war and to hold them accountable
Meanwhile,
for all
people
its
in Khartoum are sharing
consequences.
stories of RSF soldiers breaking into their houses with
No,
metal
and I
detectors
saw that.
specifically designed to find gold. Last year, the US, UK,
Oh,
and
to find
several
gold.
EU countries put sanctions on private companies belonging to the RSF and the Sudanese armed forces. They included the UAE-based gold mining company Al Junaid, run by Hamiti's brother, who was also placed under sanctions. Then in January 2025, the Biden administration extended those sanctions to Hamiti himself, accusing the RSF of committing genocide in Sudan. But despite efforts by Sudan's government to hold the UAE responsible, the International Court of Justice threw out their case in May because
Why?
the UAE had opted out of a key article in the Genocide Convention, preventing them from being sued in the UN court.
It's a new form of land grab, of colonialism, call it what you want, but this is what's happening. And if you look at throughout the whole scale of Africa, from the Sahel to the Red Sea, that's what's been happening. You know,
God
you don't
damn
wage
it.
wars because you can't
These
afford to wage
fuckers
a
are
war, but you will
useless,
pay someone
man.
to wage that war for you. In return, you will have access to things that in your own country you do not have. I mean, I'll be blunt. The UAE does not have one single gold mine in their country, yet they're the biggest wheelers and dealers in gold in the world right now. How
Yep.
can that be? It just, 1+1, the numbers don't lie. The evidence is there, and that's what's happening right now.
And you might be thinking, how can so much illegal gold flow into Dubai without anyone noticing? Well, that's because of a peculiar loophole in the way the
What?
gold market is regulated.
Tell me.
Once gold is imported into Dubai, it will be melted and refined. And through this process, gold will officially acquire a new origin. Its new origin will then be Dubai, even though it has been extracted from a mine in Sudan or perhaps in Mali or in Burkina Faso.
And while the UAE has introduced new rules on gold sourcing in 2023, experts say these are only cosmetic.
We already know from interviews that we've done with actors in the United Arab Emirates that the regulation has not been taken seriously.
Without a serious way to figure out where it's coming from, how it's obtained, and who's really selling it, the City of Gold has indeed become a global hub for gold laundering. And as the demand for gold and other precious metals continues to rise, the most powerful actors in the world are now engaged in a new scramble for Africa. A scramble that continues in peace and war, whatever the cost.
Ay, ay, ay. And that was from Middle East
Thank you for watching
Eye.
this episode of The Big Picture. If you want to know more about this story, about what's happening in Sudan, you can follow our extensive reporting at middleeasteye.net. You can also listen to this episode on all of our episodes wherever you get your podcasts from. As always, we want to hear what you have to say, so please leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you like this video, if you found it informative, please like it and share it, and consider subscribing to our channel. And until next time, salam.
Yeah, so that is why there is turmoil in Sudan. And such. It's all for gold. Gold that the UAE really wants, and so they hire these people. They give they hire these people to
When it comes to the art of
Ay,
diplomacy,
ay, ay,
there's a number
cálmate.
of ways countries talk to each other.
Give me a second. Thank you. Oh, I stopped at a very unflattering here. There we go. No, yeah, and so I was just so amazed at how many loopholes they have to do to get this gold. It's intense, and I just don't understand how these loopholes, they're so simple as well. Very simple. It's like they just smuggle it through the airport. How the fuck do these people not even notice like a shit ton of gold? Oh, well, they did. That's why they made their own ports, right? But since the ports is labeled as economic business, that's a loophole. There's just so many loopholes within loopholes. And all because the original leaders ended up being greedy, didn't know how to manage the government, were just focused on the gold, and then they ended up being overtaken by fucking psychopaths that were paid by a foreign country to steal gold. So we just see this this pattern of behavior, or like with Israel, they just wanna, the reason why they're trying to annihilate everyone in Palestine is because they want their land and the resources that is within Palestine, mostly the land though, and the oil, um and the geological, just everything is for profit, right? To gain more power for their country. Same thing with Sudan. The UAE benefits from, having all this gold, getting fucking famous people to go and perform at where they're at, and all of a sudden, for some reason, this year I've noticed that a lot of artists have been going to Dubai, and that's because Dubai is offering a shit ton of money to these artists to promote them and help them beautify their image, so people can ignore or forget or just not be aware of this gold laundering scheme that is affecting African countries. And so with this in mind, I like to move into Venezuela finally. With everything that we just saw, I want you guys to have that in your mind and reflect on it, right? Give me a sec as I blow my nose yet again. Got it. I have like a sore throat as well, so this is just not working out for me. Jesus Christ. But as of, when was this chat? Literally like 2 days ago, January 3rd. So for me that was 3 days ago. So 3 days ago, the US military operations ended up fucking bombing and attacking Caracas, Venezuela. So let's just read what this says. Reports and footage suggest apparent full-scale United States military operations over Caracas, with dozens of U.S. Army helicopters flying low amid multiple explosions across the city, including CH-47G Chinook Special Operations helicopters from the 160th Special Operations Aviation Regiment. Okay? So they're using the good stuff, apparently. Large areas of the southern suburbs are reportedly without power as residents hear explosions and low-flying aircraft, while a large fire is visible near the coastal city of La Gaira, Jesus Christ, Gaira, north of the capital. Separately, airstrikes are reported to have targeted Higuerote Airport in Miranda, as well as El Libertador Air Base, the headquarters of the Venezuelan Air Force in Maracay, central Venezuela. Oh my god. Shh. Sorry, that's my alarm. So, I'm pretty sure these are just, bombs, but like a lot of people ended up denying what was going on and also saying that there was no casualties when this happened. So I just want people to, you guys be witnesses, you guys judge with your own eyes what ended up happening. Let me read chat though, sorry. Doing good, working on a music commission. Didn't see your new avatar yet. It's super cool. Thank you very much. Yes, yes, yes. This is my new true form. Gracias, gracias. So, yeah, these are the images that a bunch of civilians, by the way, innocent people, were recording from their homes. Christ. Yep. Wow. Next. Wow. How many times did they fucking attack?
Sí, sí.
Christ.
Muriéndose.
One more? He's saying that it's 1:58 a.m. You can hear the helicopters. I can barely hear him. Oh shit, I can hear the helicopters though. Oh wait, why is it so low?
Se escuchan helicópteros.
So you guys are witnesses to that. This is the US deliberately attacking civilians in order to get the president of Venezuela. This is from Detario. Their caption is very important for me to read because I can relate to this person as someone who understands Spanish as well. He says, fucking gut-wrenching stuff. Listen to how terrified they sound. The US has been terrorizing families in other countries like this for decades, but Americans are so apathetic and detached from it. That's right, it's true. This could be you with your family, but they just weren't born as lucky as you. That's right. That's true. I don't know if many people have watched The Office, but there's this scene where I don't know what happened or what the context was, but I think Creed, this crazy old guy, was told that like good luck or something, or are you lucky or something like that. And he responded with something like, "Oh, I'm already lucky. I got all the luck I need. I was born in the United States of America, baby. Oh, I won the lottery." That's what he said. I already won the lottery. I was born in the USA, baby. And then I was like, you know what? That's kind of true. Because although we as Americans are fucked in the social context, in the gun context, TBH, Lamau, like, you know, we are at risk of getting shot, or if you're not white, completely white, or not considered white, you will be at risk of being attacked due to racial reasons, discriminatory reasons. You will most likely die from your wounds or some medical need that you may have because you don't have health insurance. You know, despite all of that, what is so lucky about being an American is that you won't have to face the consequences of Americans' actions in the form of full-scale bombing war like this. Okay? As of now, and as of, you know, Pearl Harbor, like after Pearl Harbor, we don't really have stuff like that. And Pearl Harbor was basically an inside job anyway to give us a reason to participate in World War II. So technically speaking, you know, we are lucky to not face this sort of fear that involves bombs, that involves, you know, seeing people getting killed and blown up through war, through colonial means. That is what makes us lucky to be American. That's it. So this person says, hey, this could be you with your family, but they just weren't born as lucky as you. Some people don't win the lottery. And the thing is, I don't even like saying that because, like, America sucks, bro. Like, I'm not gonna lie. It shouldn't even be considered a win due to its, like, you know, imperialistic ways that people are barely realizing. I feel like everyone has the right to love their country and hope for the best in their homeland. And I just don't think it's fair that these people from other countries have to just deal with shit like Palestine, Congo, and now Venezuela. So I want to hear this gut-wrenching video that, for people who understand Spanish, it sucks to hear because you understand and you can hear the fear in these people's voices. I'll try to translate, but putting the volume up. I'm going to press play. What's that? They're bombing Caracas. Yeah means it's bombs, it's bombs, okay? It's bombs. Just stop. They're bombs. What's that? Yep. They're calling for Gabriel. Give me the phone. Look, the lights went out over there. Do you see? No. Let's go. Let's go. Where are we going? Where would we go? What do you mean? It sucks because that sounds like my mom, chat. Oh, they were having a party and they stopped the music. That literally sounds like my mom, chat. So earlier in chat, you saw this. I don't know if you're still here, M, whatever your name is, but I don't see this as a W America moment. Okay? I don't. You have fucking people scared, being murdered, in that moment being killed, whoever's there. Sorry, my chair is like squeaking a lot. And for people like me, and it's not even a me thing, chat. It could be you. The thing is that I feel that people got so normalized to bombing other countries. You know, when I was a child, it was Iraq, Iran, whatever. We were so used to that, thinking that, oh yes, it must be done for the honor of America, for America's freedom. What freedom? What did we gain from any of this? I still don't have health care. Fucking hell, if I go to the doctors in America, it's $100 plus. If I go on an ambulance, it's like around $1K to $3K just to go to a hospital, not including care. We haven't won anything from trying to colonize other countries. We just go bomb people. We don't even get what we want. And then we leave. And if we do get what we want, we just ended up killing a bunch of people for no good reason. And it doesn't even go to us. This is not a W. This is evil. Okay? This is disgusting. And so, the thing about all of this, though, is that you are going to see, and this is a very hot topic right now, and it's gonna rustle some feathers, but you're gonna see a bunch of people celebrating this. a bunch of people from Venezuela or who are Venezuelans. A lot of people are celebrating this because they were sick and tired of the dictatorship they suffered from, okay? That they escaped from, that they went to America to escape from. And for them, this is a win because, oh my god, the dictator is taken, yay! But the thing is like, this didn't even need to happen. They didn't need to bomb civilians, chat. They didn't need to kill people. They didn't need to kidnap the president. Like, I feel that a country's issues and problems should be left alone unless another foreign country is invading and doing colonial shit like the UAE is and like Israel is. But if it's just Venezuela, you know, there has to be a reason why America all of a sudden is like, okay, let's bomb the shit out of them. Oh. They got sick and tired of not being able to get their hands on the goddamn oil, chat. America doesn't care about liberating people. If it was true, Palestine would be okay. Sudan and other countries, it wouldn't be starting wars with anyone that has something they can profit from. So this is not really a W because they're just killing people for profit. And they're starting wars and pissing up other countries over it. The entirety of Latin America right now is on edge from this. But you will have Venezuelans celebrating this. And I feel like we have to hear their side of the story as well to understand how complicated this conflict is and to be like, not be confused, okay? At the whole situation of things. So this person really does describe both sides pretty well, at least the ones that are celebrating. So let me actually put this down here. And let's hear her out.
And give some context from an actual Venezuelan. Maduro, bad. Trump,
Maduro, bad. That is the leader.
bad. Getting rid of Maduro, good. An American intervention into Venezuela, bad. Now you're going to see a lot of Venezuelans who seem to be in support of this American intervention, not because we're naive or because we don't understand what it could mean. Nobody wants to be bombed by the Yanks, okay? But that should give you an idea as just how desperate Venezuelans are. Maduro is not the legal president of Venezuela. He lost the 2024 election to Edmundo Gonzalez. That is an indisputable fact. But this isn't so much about the nitty-gritty of the politics as much as it is about the effects of those politics on the people. Imagine this. You wake up, there's no water, as usual. The lights have been out for about 10 hours. Your fridge starts to smell because the power keeps going out. So you're like, okay, I'm going to go out and buy some new food. You get there and the food is even more expensive than it was before. Food has gone up 21.9% in price since just last October. Actually, food prices have gone up 12,000% since 2009. So that's like a tomato being worth $1. Now that same tomato is worth $12,000. That's how crazy the food situation is in Venezuela. These rolling blackouts too that I mentioned have a huge effect on the hospital systems. Often you will be in the middle of surgery and the electricity goes off. So you have a country where you have very little access to food, and we know little access to food usually means a huge increase in crime. That has happened in Venezuela. You have a dangerous country, you don't have access to food, water, electricity, and your hospital systems have been terrible. On top of these brutal living conditions, you have this political violence hovering on top of you. If you speak out about what's happening, you are very likely to be disappeared into El Helicoide, which is the largest torture center in the Americas. In July of 2024 came Operation Tuntun. So basically the government would come knocking on your door if you made any posts that were against the government. And if your neighbors outed you for being out protesting, you would be likely to be kidnapped and sent to this torture center. In just the month of July 2024, 1,900 political prisoners were taken. Those numbers have gone up to over 3,000, most of those being youth and most of those being underage girls. Since 2014, there has been 17,888 politically motivated arrests in Venezuela. More than 8 million Venezuelans have fled the country. Our families are scattered across the world because we can't safely live home. And back in Venezuela, the regime allows mining that is tearing apart the Orinoco Delta, poisoning rivers with mercury and displacing indigenous people, allowing miners to go into indigenous territories, spreading diseases and kidnapping and human trafficking indigenous women. So when you see Venezuelans expressing support for an invasion, please understand, no one wants to be invaded, especially not by a country with such a brutal, violent global history. But Venezuelans are running out of options. Our hope is real. But underneath that hope is fear, exhaustion, and deep sadness for having to survive this horrific, violent, corrupt dictatorship. So please give us some space to feel all these emotions. Venezuelans aren't dumb. We are hardworking people who just want the best, like everyone else, to live a normal life. Thanks for listening.
And the thing is, all of her pain, all of that, that's true. I believe her. It's true. You look it up. They are run. Maduro's not a good guy, chat. That guy's a bad guy, and I also feel like a certain way of like all these people fucking celebrating him and shit. But like she said, people who spoke out against him were at risk of being fucking tortured. That ain't cool, chat. I understand. I really do. And I say this as someone who understands that fucking pain. Not 100% because, again, I had the privilege of being born in the States. But as someone whose family escaped that sort of persecution, okay, I get it. The government's corrupt. What are you gonna do when the government always fucks you up for their own profit? The people, everything that she just said, chat. A bunch of other Latin Americans from different countries understand that pain. And this is what's frustrating a little bit to me, is that despite all of that, you think it's okay to kill your own people just to kick some asshole out? Yeah, an asshole who ruined a bunch of lives. Fuck, I know a shit ton of dead people who were lost to the fucked up system. I get it. I understand. But you think it's gonna get better with the US? No. They make things worse. And they're gonna implement their own leader that's gonna make things worse for you, okay? They're going to make things worse for you and your people, and they're gonna still kill people and probably kill more people in the name of patriotism, American patriotism. So I think at the same time, I think people can have it both ways. I think people can hate Maduro, but also people can hate the US imperialism, okay? I think people should be able to kick out a fucking asshole dictator who kills and tortures your people. But having the US do it in order to steal your fucking oil, the only thing you have in your country to make profit from, that ain't it. You're gonna lose more than what you've already lost. Okay, and that this is the conflict. It's so complicated. And let me just tell you, I used to say the same thing, by the way. I used to say the same thing. You know, sometimes I'd tell my dad, and my dad would correct me, by the way. He would correct me. I'd be like, Dad, I can't wait for America to save Mexico. because the cartels and they're controlling the government, blah, blah, blah. And Dad would be like, what the fuck? No. You know, the people of Mexico are good people. And yeah, and they're suffering because of a corrupt government. But even my dad will look at me, I guess, disappointed in me and how fucking American I ended up being. How brainwashed I got by this country to make me believe that my native land that I don't even know, okay, should be colonized and have its resources taken away from. What is that? How come the white people who live in Mexico have more rights than the fucking average, than the poor fucking Mexico? How come I don't advocate for those fuckers to be kicked out? How come the US can pardon a actual drug trafficker, because Trump recently pardoned a drug trafficker, but he's out here bombing civilians and capturing a guy who, honestly, yeah, he's guilty of being a dictator, but of cartels and shit. I thought that was Mexico. Let's be for real here. We gotta think critically. That's the thing. The US, oh, my nose is bleeding. God damn it. The US is using other people's pain in order to brainwash them and profit from it. Okay? That's why this is so complicated and it's very sad to see. It's very sad to see because I understand. But this is the thing. This is not only a Venezuelan problem. This is a problem, a Latin American problem. Okay? It's true. This experience that she speaks of, many people from other Latin American countries suffer from as well. And that's the goddamn truth. And many of true Latin Americans, okay? Me, I'm considered a gringa because obviously I wasn't born gringa or gringo means outsider when you're in Latin America. When you're in a Western white country, all the white people are gringos. It changes based on the area you're at. But if you're in Latin America, if you're not born in Latin America, if you're an outsider, you're also considered a gringo / gringa, whatever pronouns you are. So even me and other people who are true, who live in their native lands, they're fighting against this. Okay? Right now the American Western news is trying to hype up the people who are celebrating this, especially Venezolanos and Latinos who are celebrating this, not only in America but in other countries as well that they immigrated to. So just don't be fooled though. Most of these people are against this. And this is the type of propaganda we're gonna do this guy is gonna do a comparison between how America normalized and uses their propaganda to justify colonization and war. So let's just take a look at this.
I'm not even going to play around anymore. F it. Hit me with the works. Iraq, Venezuela, go!
We're giving them full opportunity to do it the easy way. And when it doesn't work, we'll do it the hard way.
If we can do things the easy way, that's fine. And if we have to do it the hard way, that's fine too.
Chemical weapons is a threat to the United States.
Fentanyl poses a chemical weapons threat to the United States.
Al-Qaeda terrorists inside Iraq.
Al-Qaeda of our hemisphere.
If we can get rid of Saddam, it could really begin to transform the region.
There's an opportunity to transform the entire region.
Bringing
freedom and democracy.
Democracy and freedom can serve as a
Beacon of hope.
Shock and awe. I'm not even going to play around anymore. F it. Hit me with the works. Iraq, Venezuela.
Sorry, I was drinking water. But yeah. They've done this many times. It's not a new thing. So other countries have already suffered this, by the way. This type of thing. Where America is just like, hey, I want that, I'm gonna bomb you for it. Okay, thanks. Like this person right here. This person is from Iraq. She's an Iraqi, and she's gonna describe the exact feelings that she understands from the Venezolano people. Venezuelans, sorry, I keep getting mixed up here. The Venezuelans, and she's basically warning them. Like, hey, this is why, not warning them, but warning everyone who is celebrating this as someone who suffered the Iraq war that America started. Let me make sure this is up. Okay.
My mother celebrated the day that we got...
Jesus Christ, it's so low. Let me turn it up more. My Kurdish mother celebrated the day that we got invaded in Iraq. So, right now it's similar. A lot of people are celebrating that Venezuela got basically invaded, okay?
My mother celebrated the day that we got invaded in Iraq by the American government. She loved George W. Bush. She loved Tony Blair because they got rid of Saddam Hussein because he was annihilating the Kurds and so many minorities. But she didn't celebrate when she had to drag the body of her dead brother from my grandparents' driveway because the neighborhood got airstruck. A neighborhood that was never going to be airstruck. They're so wealthy, they're so protected, they're protected by the Americans because they've got ties with the Americans. Airstruck. My mother did not celebrate when the Americans bombed my school bus. My mother did not celebrate when we would go to school every day and she would say goodbye to us because she didn't know if we were going to come back. She didn't celebrate that we didn't have a healthy home. She didn't celebrate that we had to be internally displaced in Iraq at least 11 times in 6 years. The break in our education, the break in schooling, constantly failing because we cannot keep going to school because constantly political pressure and bombings and displacements are happening. She didn't celebrate any of that. She didn't celebrate when we had to leave Iraq at 2 a.m. because my dad's name ended up on a list. And she definitely did not celebrate when she had to become a Kurdish refugee in Turkey under the UN's thumb. And she definitely did not celebrate when we finally arrived to Australia, to a Western country, and she faced Islamophobia and discrimination and bigotry and oppression like she's never seen before. So no, the invasion of Venezuela is not to be celebrated because it's the next Iraq. We know what the play is. We know that they're for oil. We know that they're to destabilize and to extract what they want, and they're getting out of there.
Yeah, so she literally survived all of that and experienced all of that firsthand. She just knows how it's gonna end, how it started, and how it's going to end. Literally very similar, almost to a T of what's going on right now. And these are the people who are not celebrating, okay? And these are the people who are actually living within Venezuela, okay? So let's hear what she has to say. I will read what she's saying, but let me just tell you, she's not celebrating getting bombed, okay? So let's hear what she has to say. Altogether, we're going to go out and defend our homeland because this homeland is ours. This homeland belongs to our future generations. This homeland belongs to our children and deserves that we give and offer our lives for it. Because Venezuela is ours. Venezuela must be respected. Stay alert because they are not coming for us. They are coming for our oil and they are coming for you to understand this. What they want here is oil to continue their wars. Understand that what they want here is our land so they can keep feeding wars. They are not an army of peace. It's the time of the land. This is the decisive moment, and here we will see each other defending the land. This land is ours. Viva Venezuela. So yeah, most of the people who are literally affected by the bombs know what's going on. Okay, they just understand. And here's the scary part of it. Okay, on Fox News, they ended up interviewing Trump, and I'm going to just read what he says instead of hearing his annoying ass fucking. Oh no, let's just hear it. Basically, Trump is already threatening Mexico, chat. Okay, that's how far things is going here. They're threatening Mexico, be like insinuating that Mexico is next. Because Claudia isn't being as submissive as she needs to be.
I want to ask you because from your vice president, J.D. Vance, said that the message is pretty clear. The drug trafficking must stop. This operation a message that you're sending to Mexico, to Claudia Sheinbaum, the president there?
Well, it wasn't meant to be, and we're very friendly with her. She's a good woman, but the cartels...
We're very friendly with her, he says.
Running Mexico. The cartels are running Mexico. And we could be politically correct and be nice and say, oh, yes, she is. No, she's very, she's very frightened of the cartels. They're running Mexico. And I've asked her numerous times, would you like us to take out the cartels? No, Mr. President. No, please. So we have to do something because we lost... The real number is 300,000 people, in my opinion. They like to say 100,000. 100,000 is a lot of people, but the real number is 300,000 people, and we lost it to drugs, and they come in through the southern border, mostly the southern border. Plenty come in through Canada, too, by the way, in case you don't know.
And so the thing is like, Claudia is the new president of Mexico, the first female president. I think from what I remember, the first female president and the first president, not even the first president, but she's actually making a lot of good change within Mexico. She's basically, it seems like she's changing Mexico for the better, trying to make sure that the people finally start benefiting. Okay, finally, like people start receiving the help that they need. And let me just tell you, a lot of people don't like that. A lot of right-wingers don't like that, and especially Trump. Okay, especially Trump. And now that Mexico is seeming to turn a new leaf all of a sudden, okay, because like the whole cartel thing, fine, yeah, whatever. But the cartels are being funded by the US, by the way, and they're not even stopping it because it's coming from their own house. They're the ones asking for the money. All of a sudden, again, Mexico seems to be turning a new leaf, and now he's saying, something is gonna have to be done with Mexico. That insinuation is terrifying. And a lot of people are gonna be, and then this is what I'm saying. If they're gonna do this to Venezuela, they're going to do it to us. Okay? To other people. To other Latin American countries that are not serving the US's interests. That's dangerous, chat. And this is all because we've normalized bombing and abusing, enslaving Black and brown people. It's very scary. I don't know what the future holds, man. And this is why we need to speak out against that. Because Venezuela is not the only one suffering from a shit government. And that doesn't mean that America has the right to ruin it even more. with the threats of killing civilians, by the way. But yeah, a lot of people are gonna be throwing it at your face if you believe that America's wrong for doing this. But a lot of people are gonna be like, okay, but he's a dictator. What do you mean? Socialism bad. Our government's evil. I mean, both things can be true at the same time. And so I'd like to look at... No, not this video. This one. I'd like to hear and watch and react to this video called Did Socialism Ruin Venezuela? And I'll stop until the Venezuela part. But we'll see how the corruption and how the failure of Venezuela's government began through Overzealot's video. Let's watch.
So a little while ago, I released some videos about socialism. I was pleasantly surprised to see how well they were received given the controversial topic, but there were still obviously some people who disagreed. The main arguments I saw against socialism in those comment sections were: 1. Social democracies are preferable to socialism, so countries like America should just strive to be more like Sweden and drop the whole socialism thing. This I already touched on in my last video. It was part 1 of this 2-part series. 2. Venezuela was in fact ruined by socialism. And 3. Anti-socialist Javier Milei is actually doing a good job in Argentina. In this video, I'll tackle the claims about Venezuela and Argentina. If you want to see my thoughts on socialism versus social democracy, then check out part 1. Let's get into it. To serve as a quick reminder, socialism is worker control and
I'll also use the restroom for a bit, but I'm still hearing this too, Chet.
Democratic management of the means of production, and markets, where and if they exist, are to be subordinate to the well-being of the people. The profit motive is to take a back seat to human well-being. This means you don't go hungry or houseless just because you can't afford those essential goods, while excess food gets destroyed and 16 million homes sit vacant and useless. Socialism seems to mean different things to different people. From Leninists to anarchists, the application of socialism doesn't always look the same. Some socialists argue for more state power and centralization. I don't. I perceive such a system to be a deviation from my preferred form of socialism, but socialism nonetheless. I argue for a more decentralized system that restructures the enterprise and democratizes the workplace. Things like worker cooperatives, workers' councils, and dual power structures to mitigate the role of the state and truly empower the working class with greater control over capital.
They have a thing that looks like a government. It's got a parliament, it's got like ministers, and they pass legislation, but they also have the bottom-up structures. The bottom-up structures is what they call democratic confederalism.
With that said, let's get into Venezuela. The U.S. has a history of meddling in Venezuela.
I'm starting work in a foreign country for an American oil company, and I'll have to learn its ways. We each represent the United States here, in the eyes of the Venezuelans.
All the way back in 1908, the U.S. Navy helped to install Juan Vicente Gomez in a coup. Gomez ruled brutally, protected foreign oil interests, and was described as an instrument of foreign control of the Venezuelan economy by Romulo Betancourt, a later Venezuelan president. Gomez wasn't the only US-backed tyrant. America also backed a ruthless dictator named Marcos Perez Jimenez, who was friendly to oil companies and transnational corporations, but brutal to his people. This resulted in Venezuela building an economy based almost solely on oil revenue, selling it off to richer countries like the US, while the US ensured that whoever was in charge of Venezuela would put American interests above those of Venezuelans. This ensured that the rich of Venezuela were taken care of, America remained happy, and the poor of Venezuela suffered. The US remained consistent in meddling in Venezuela and all over Latin America with the goal to profit off Latin American natural resources. In 1998, Hugo Chavez was elected and launched the Bolivarian Revolution. The revolution ushered in social reforms that alleviated poverty and illiteracy, healthcare was prioritized, and industries like oil were nationalized in an attempt to build a more self-sufficient Venezuela. Chavez, knowing that this set the Venezuelan oligarchy against him and made him a pariah in Washington, still chose to supply free heating oil to hundreds of thousands of poor Americans in winter states. The Americans continued to demonize Chavez, attempt coups, and sanction the country. Obama said Venezuela was a risk to national security, which is funny because I don't remember Venezuela backing coups and death squads around the world or drone striking the ever-living out of the Middle East. but I do remember the US doing that. I tell you this not because I have any desire to defend Maduro or even Chavez, but it's important to be aware of this history first and foremost before we get into why Venezuela is the way it is. Venezuela is a petrostate, a very resource-rich one. As is often the case with nations that are rich in a particular resource, we see something called the resource curse, or Dutch disease, take place. This is when a country relies only on their abundant resource, for Venezuela that happens to be oil, and fails to diversify their exports and other economic sectors. Oil has made Venezuela very rich for a very long time, so they never really bothered to flesh out other industries or sectors. They used oil money to import whatever they needed, which further postponed their desire to develop their own industries. This set the stage for what we saw when the value of oil plummeted. Under Chavez's presidency, oil was booming. He brought oil companies under state control, and he used the revenues generated by the high price of oil to fund his social programs.
To fund his social programs. So here's the thing, because like Chavez has always been demonized to me. And recently, well, especially now, I'm starting to learn more about it. A lot of other, informational videos are going to demonize people like Chavez. And, I mean, for good reason, but at the same time, it's just kind of sus. I kept seeing how people would just gloss over the fact that he would provide social programs for poor people. And it would just be glossed over, and then all of a sudden they'd be like, and he ruined everything. He was a bad person. But at the same time, like, a bunch of people fought for this guy. Like, the average person during his rule loved this guy a lot. Okay? And although, yeah, he was part of the reason why Venezuela ended up being the way that it is, there has to be a reason why he was so popular. And, well, it's because he would actually help poor people. But unfortunately, we'll see later on, as Overzealots explains here in this video, how he ended up not really managing the government well. Let's continue the video.
This resulted in him being a very popular president, but also a very sloppy one. With oil single-handedly carrying his economy, he got cocky and wasn't diligently saving oil revenues for the future. He wasn't diversifying his exports or fleshing out other industries. Chavez made a ton of economically illiterate decisions. He devalued the bolivar, leading to inflation, didn't manage or upkeep the oil facilities, and he refused to even learn much about the oil industry, which is pretty silly considering the way Venezuela made its money. When Chavez died in 2013 and the value of oil started to plummet in the years following, Chavez's successor, Maduro, tried to keep Chavez's social programs in place even though the country no longer had the oil revenues needed to maintain them. So Maduro printed money and propped up the foreign exchange rate, leading to hyperinflation. It's important to keep in mind that nationalization and state ownership of oil companies can be a socialist policy. They can also be social democracy policies. But, as we've been over earlier, without the democratic control and management of these industries, and with far too centralized authority, we can easily run into issues like Chavez's poor saving habits, bad industry upkeep, and inability to educate himself on the topic of oil. So if you want to consider Chavez's nationalization of oil industries as proof that Venezuela is a socialist economy and failed because of it, we should probably mention how Chavez's reforms, funded by his nationalization of oil, were arguably some of the better things to happen to Venezuela, and the outcome of his reforms were even praised by neoliberal organizations like the World Bank. We also need to factor in a history of US imperialism, sanctions, coup attempts, extreme corruption, the failure to diversify exports or sectors and remain entirely dependent on oil, economic mismanagement in the form of money printing leading to hyperinflation, and more. My point is, it's easy to blame socialism, even when a lot of the economy is privately held, because it serves as a worthwhile boogeyman, and it prevents us from having to thoroughly look at what went wrong. Nicolas Maduro is a so-called socialist and rules over a Venezuela in crisis. So it's easy to just blame socialism. But this fails to address all the times Venezuela experienced crises under more right-wing governments, namely in the 80s and 90s. Back in the 80s, oil prices plummeted and Venezuela's money reserves dried up. The country found itself $33 billion in debt. This led to the country accepting an IMF loan. The IMF is notorious for loaning money to countries in need, but only if that country pledges to implement neoliberal reforms. This means mass privatization and deregulation, cutting social programs, and opening up their economies for foreign investment. Historically, these neoliberal policies have led to immense inequality and poverty. In Venezuela's case, these policies brought about inequality, rioting, looting, and political turmoil.
No, yeah, and that's what made me so confused all the time, because like there was a bunch of people going against the government, like they hated the government, chat. And then Chavez came in and everyone loved him, but he was the bad guy. So it makes sense to me that, I mean, he ended up being kind of stupid, pretty stupid honestly, for relying only on oil and for not like expanding on the country's needs and ways of profiting and supporting the country. Because once oil's out of the picture and you lose that, you know, the economy's gonna go to shit. So that makes sense to me. It's not necessarily that he was a socialist and he purposely ruined everything and he's the worst person on earth. It's more like he was stupid, but he did end up bringing good policies that he couldn't keep up with basic, not basic, well, I guess knowledge on how to run a fucking country better. And so when we get into Maduro, that's where things get worse, because now you just have a guy who's using, you know, Chavez to justify his actions. You know, this guy actually is an asshole and obviously isn't doing his best to help the people.
Long before Chavez's revolution and actually motivated people to support Chavez, let's jump back to the modern day. The demonization of socialism as the reason for Venezuela's demise sounds good to the average Western anti-leftist, but it fails to keep in mind how Bolivia, a country not too far away from Venezuela, was experiencing solid results under Evo Morales' incremental socialist policies. Evo Morales raised the standard of living, more than half to the number of people living in extreme poverty, grew the GDP by an average of 4.8% a year from 2004 to 2017, was recognized by neoliberal establishments like the World Bank and the IMF for his ability to improve the quality of life in Bolivia, and he even had the World Bank reclassify Bolivia from a lower income country to a lower middle income country once it surpassed the national income per person threshold for lower middle income status. My point here is that there are many factors at play when it comes to Venezuela. To blame socialism or even Chavez for everything that the country is experiencing leaves out the history of the country, the failures under past right-wing leadership, the neoliberal policies that drove people into Chavez's arms, and the overall economic mismanagement and dependency on just one resource. Yes, Maduro is cartoonishly corrupt, and that video of him sneaking a bite of an empanada on live TV because he thought the cameras were off as his people starved is pretty fucked up. But Maduro is not the embodiment of socialism. Nothing near it, actually.
And that's the thing. The people hated the government before Chavez, right? Because all of those elites were elites who served the US and profited from the US. Like it showed in the beginning, like they were having close ties with the US, and now you know the United States wanted that again. And I guess Maduro wasn't giving them what Trump wanted. And so now finally they just decided to bomb it. I heard that Trump got pissed because Maduro was memeing and dancing. And that guy always does that shit, by the way. I don't think it's funny. Because I think I don't know, I was a kid. It was a long ass time ago. But I remember in the news, I think I saw this fucking guy like doing that same shit while people were like protesting outside and being attacked by the military under his order. Like he I feel like he was memeing on Trump, and Trump like got pissed and was like, let me just kill your civilians. It sucks. But I feel like we should hate both sides here. But let Venezuela like alone and let them deal with their stuff and let them be their own country. You know? I don't think we should be celebrating Americans killing fucking Venezuelans that are already suffering, that have already suffered. And you know, if they lost a lot with Maduro, they sure as hell, like, you know, they're resilient, okay? They're strong people. They're not gonna fucking bend to the country that wants to suck them dry, take away their oil. So that's why it's just very odd. And you will be seeing this in like modern media, like on your TVs most likely, of people celebrating this. But you know, people who were affected in Venezuela are not celebrating. They're mourning and they're preparing to fight. And I want to show you the contrast between those two things, and this will be my final thought before I end stream. I want you guys to see the differences between someone from Venezuela. Sorry, I keep mixing it two ways because I'm not used to calling Venezuelans. I'm not used to calling them that. I say it in Spanish, but anyway, I want to show you the difference between a Venezuelan Wow, see, now it's speaking. Sorry, I can't code switch properly right now. Someone not living in Venezuela and someone who is living in Venezuela. So let's look at someone who is not living in Venezuela. And I'm going to translate what she's saying here. So this person, I don't know, is she in Miami? I don't know where the fuck she is. But let's read what this guy has to say. He says, Sebastian says, white Latinos are some of the most evil Hitlerite people on planet Earth. I am allowed to say this. The skeptical woke white Latino. And it's true. It's true. I've seen it with my own goddamn eyes. Let me tell you why. Let's just hear what let's hear what she has to say, okay? Let's play this. And it's gonna be in Spanish, so I'll do my best to translate.
Bueno, ahora sí, el precio que tenemos que pagar todos como
Well, now, yeah, it's the price that we have to pay as the Venezuelan people.
venezolanos es nuestro petróleo, sí.
Yeah, it's our petroleum. It's our oil, sorry. Yeah, the price we have to pay is our oil.
Pero quizá vamos a estar mucho mejor.
But maybe we're gonna be way better now.
¿Entiendes?
You understand?
Entonces, sí,
So,
ahora
yeah.
sí, quizá va a morir mucha gente.
Maybe, yeah, maybe a bunch of people are gonna die.
No.
Or not, you know. Maybe a bunch of people are gonna die or no. Fucking. Well, and then the reporter, she goes, well, I hope not. And she's like, okay, yeah, well, yeah, let's hope not.
Pero es el precio que hay que pagar.
But it's the price we have to pay. What the fuck? It's the price we have to pay. We give them our oil, we let them kill our people. But it's the price we have to pay. For what? Literally, if we're fucking what? For no freedom? To be the US fucking puppet? Fucking cuck? Like, this is evil, chat. You have to understand this. This is why people are getting pissed off at these idiots celebrating people getting killed. She literally said it with her own fucking mouth. She said, hey, maybe people will die. And then the reporter tries to like deter her from saying anything more weird. Let's hope not. She's like, yeah, I guess let's hope not, but it's the price we wait. It's the price we have to pay. Be fucking for real, guys. This is not right. This is not right. Oh, and then look at this, by the way. Look at this. Look what the reporter does right after hearing that.
Y a veces, por favor.
Muchas gracias, Fede. Vení conmigo.
She's just like, okay, thanks. It pushes her off the fucking screen. So let's just hear it raw without me speaking over it and just see her psychotic face.
Bueno, ahora sí, el precio que tenemos que pagar todos como venezolanos es nuestro petróleo, sí, pero quizá vamos a estar mucho mejor, ¿entiendes? Entonces, sí, ahora sí, quizá va a morir mucha gente o no. Ojalá que no, pero es el precio que hay que pagar. Y a veces, por favor.
Muchas gracias, Fede. Vení
She's
conmigo.
like, okay,
Bueno, ahora
shut
sí,
the fuck up.
el precio que tenemos que pagar todos como venezolanos es nuestro petróleo, sí, pero quizá vamos a estar mucho mejor, ¿entiendes? Entonces,
the thing is,
sí,
I used to say the same shit. I used to say the same fucking shit, chat. That's what sucks about all of this. I used to say the same fucking shit. I used to be a cuck like that. And that's because I was fucking privileged. I was fucking privileged. So this is the example of someone who is living outside of Venezuela, who didn't experience the bombings, who, of course, for good reasons, they're frustrated with the shitty government that ruined their lives. That is fair. But why give up your soul for another one that's going to do the same, heck, even worse? Even worse. This is me just asking a question here. Let's look at this, what happened, like what the loss of life here. So, look at this. And this is as of 12 hours ago. The death toll from U.S. attacks on Venezuela has risen to 80 people, including civilians and members of the security forces, a senior Venezuelan official told the New York Times. On Monday, Rosa Elena Gonzalez, who died from injuries sustained in U.S. strikes, was among the first to be buried on the outskirts of Caracas. Venezuela begins burying victims of U.S. strikes that killed at least 80 people, says the New York Times. This is the sacrifice. It's a sacrifice we have to make, we're willing to make, we must make. This. Again, I understand people are tired of the dictatorship and the corruption of their government. But why suck the dick of another government that's gonna fuck you over even worse? You're celebrating this? That doesn't make sense to me. In a moral, humane way, this does not make sense. It doesn't. And that's why a lot of people are against this. Not celebrating it. Against it. Bunch of Americans don't even want war. Why would we want war? What would we benefit? We get nothing. Okay, look how many countries we've fucked over. We still don't have health insurance. No more bloodshed. The world, the common folk at least, don't want bloodshed. What is this? So we just saw a Venezuelan, oh God, I can't even say it in English. But someone who is Venezolana, who is gleefully celebrating the death of her own people from outside the country. Now, this is someone who lives within the country. And after this, I'd like to end it here for TamaTalks Tuesdays. Let's hear what she has to say. Okay? I'll read this as she talks. Let me... Okay, so she's saying, I was in my house, and he asked, where are you from?
Vivo en la parte de San Bernardino.
And she says where she's from.
Muy horrible.
She's describing it was terrible.
Lo que de verdad quiero es hacer el llamado.
What I really want is to make a plea that all Venezuelans put their hands on their hearts. Right now, we don't have a political party affiliation. Right now, we are a nation. We have a tricolor flag, yellow, blue, and red. We cannot allow our people to be harmed. And we are a sovereign, free people, and we can remain free.
Estaba en mi casa. ¿Dónde vives tú? Vivo en la parte de San Bernardino. Fue algo muy horrible. Lo que de verdad quiero es hacer el llamado que todos los venezolanos nos coloquemos la mano en el corazón. No, ahorita no tenemos un color de partido político. Ahorita es una nación. Tenemos tricolor, amarillo, azul y rojo. No podemos dejar que nuestro pueblo le hagan daño.
La patria no se vende. La patria se defiende.
We have kids.
No podemos dejar que a estas personas le hagan daño.
We can't let them harm these people.
Y somos un pueblo soberano, libre, y podemos mantenernos libres.
Okay. No, yeah, it's because when he started saying that, we couldn't hear this specific part, but let me just say it more calmly now. What I really want is to make a plea that all Venezuelans put their hands on their hearts. Right now, we don't have a political party affiliation. Right now, we are a nation. We have the tricolor flag, yellow, blue, and red. We cannot allow our people to be harmed. We have kids. And we are a sovereign, free people, and we can remain. So, as of right now, their president is in the custody of the U.S. Right now, Venezuela doesn't have a leader. They have their vice president, but we'll see how that ends. It's either the vice president sides with America or they don't. And if they don't, this is going to spark war. Because these people will not allow America to control their country, basically. And so, right now, we just made an analysis. We just reflected. Basically, we reflected on Palestine. We reflected on Sudan. And now we're reflecting on Venezuela. We even mentioned Iraq. All of these countries are involved with the U.S. The pain of these people is at the hands of the U.S., okay? And we have to fight against that. Right now, again, Latin America is... I'm just in shock. I don't know what to think of what the future holds. What does this mean for Latin America? I don't know. But I do know that just like the Palestinian people deserve to defend themselves, so do the people of Venezuela and anyone else who is at risk of suffering from American imperialism. So just remember that. And that's how I want to end TamaTalks. Thank you for those who were listening. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll be playing Silent Hill for the first time ever. And we'll be variety streaming till next week. Tuesday, TamaTalks will start again on Tuesday. Every Tuesday I do TamaTalks, okay? Thank you for listening, guys. I'll see you guys later, alligators, and have a good night. Bye. Bye. Thanks for the stream, Tama. Bye, Zaya36.
してるから今